What surprised you about the reception towards Artifact when that game launched?
Well, I think I'm really happy with Artifact as a game. Obviously, its launch left a lot to be desired. And I think that the big issues with it were community relationship issues. And I can't say it surprised me because I don't know, because I'm skeptical these days, and I know that there's a lot of emotions that run high with the concepts of free play and how you revenue model things, and what, how much luck is in a game and so forth. But I do wish we could have figured out a way to manage our relationship with the fans better, because in the end, I think that the game was a very, very good game, but not necessarily for everybody. And those people who it was for often didn't get a chance to see it because of the negative noise surrounded by the people who perhaps wanted Half-Life 3 or wanted wanted Hearthstone or something else.
So in retrospect, would you have pushed harder to make it free to play then, or what do you think is the solution?
Certainly, that I would have been. I would consider that. I think a lot of what we were trying to do was avoid some of the negative stuff with the free to play games, because one of the things I don't like a lot about a lot of free-to-play games is that they end up having this relationship with the content and grinding, and people who buy are often looked down because they're sort of cheating. And I don't want a relationship with the games I make. I don't want the relationship with the games I make and people being that they have to do grinding in order to get the content. They should want the content. But that doesn't mean that there's no avenue for free play. We talked, for example, early on about making it so, for example, all the free cards, all the common cards were free. And that might be an avenue, because in all my games, I usually make it so that the common cards are very strong and you can get by on just the common cards. And you may not be able to win as often as having the full variety, but you can hang with people with much bigger collections.
Yeah, for sure. Did you start to plan an expansion for Artifact before you left, or was that never in the cards for you?
Oh, there were expansions being worked on before I left. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So in general, I mean, would you say there's hard feelings at this point, or is it just a interesting experiment that didn't quite launch the way you expected?
There's no hard feelings between me and Valve. I think they're smart. And they paid attention to what we talked about in development, and I think we worked together and made a great product. And I don't believe there's any hard feelings the other way, but there were high emotions, and so sometimes those get mixed up. Because the underlying game I have faith in, and I am contacted on a not uncommon basis by people who are experts at games, like ex-Magic Pro Tour players, that sort of thing, who really like Artifact. I have this sort of idealistic hope that it'll find its audience eventually, but I also know that there's a lot of games I love that never did succeed, and so that may not be the case.
Yeah. What do you think? I'd imagine you working with Valve and working so much with Gabe, I'd imagine it's a really interesting dynamic where you're both learning from each other. Can you think of anything that you really learned from Gabe that you didn't know before, like a big takeaway of like, oh, it's a really smart perspective on this or this?
Well, I did not work with Gabe directly much. I mostly worked with the teams, and I believe I learned some things indirectly through him, because I think his intelligence and the structure he has wanted is there, and is reflective of what he was after. And I was and as far as the team goes, I was very interested at how open they were to critique from all directions, and how they would try things out and be open to alternate solutions and so forth, and how relentlessly focused on the player quality they were. Now, they themselves won't advertise that because they've got a very hands-off relationship with marketing and so forth. I don't believe they believe in marketing themselves, and I believe that actually could have helped a game like Artifact. But people on the outside would be saying, "Oh, they're just trying to grab pennies," or they're making this decision because it's going to make them more money or something like that. I can say that consciously was never part of their dealings with each other. They were always focused on what's going to be the best experience for the players. They may have made mistakes along those lines, but that was where they were coming from, and I think that comes from Gabe. And I was really surprised to see how strongly they followed it.
Yeah. Well, it's bizarre now. I know some people from the Artifact team have moved on to work on Dota Underlords, and it's interesting with you loving auto chess. Would you ever think of reconnecting and helping out with Dota Underlords in any way? Would you have any advice for them?
Oh, I certainly would connect it. I'm really busy these days with Keyforge and some other things, but in the future, I certainly would be open to it. I think they probably need some more time distant from me and my point of view, because we as I said, emotions, and we invested a lot of energy and in Artifact, and that was all sort of tied together in a lot of stress. But in time that might happen, and certainly I it's like while I really like Artifact and what we were trying to do there, is like I love games and love it when new things are done, and boy, the auto chess genre has something new, and I'm really excited by that.
That was just a clip from a larger show called The Game Informer Show. You can find it on iTunes, Google Play, or GameInformer.com. We take the fun opportunities and exclusive information from Game Informer magazine and boil it into a show that airs every Thursday with exclusive cover story information, developer interviews, a lot of fun stuff. So come love games with us.